The In Conversation podcast series with author Nigel Beckles.
Welcome to the podcast.
Please like the podcast and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.
Have you experienced several failed relationships or been through a divorce? How can you avoid making the same mistakes again? How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes is out now.
Hi, my name is Nigel Beckles. My new book is packed with practical and common sense strategies that you can use to make better relationship choices.
Now you can discover the dangerous myths about love. If your relationship expectations are realistic, why you could be falling in love for all the wrong reasons.
How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes. It's a book that could change your life.
Available from amazon.co.uk. Kindle version also available.
The very best way to promote your podcasts. Podpage makes it easy to create a podcast website with just a few clicks. Every page is optimized to be found on Google and it stays up to date forever. For more information, visit podpage.com. The future of podcast promotion.
Get ready for takeoff.
Welcome back to my In Conversation podcast series. My guest for this episode is UK author and entrepreneur Colin Sutherland. Greetings, Colin. Welcome to my podcast series. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, Nigel.
Okay, so where do you live at the moment?
I'm in Birmingham, sir.
So did you grow up in Birmingham?
Yeah, born and bred.
So what was your very first job?
My first job, basically, I saw it on the advertising the job centre. It was to do with transformers, electronic components. It was paying £37 a week. So I stayed there for a couple of months. It gave me the experience what I needed to move on, basically.
So what made you decide to start your own business?
I've always been that entrepreneur kind of person. I've always had it in me in terms of wanting to start up a business. It's just, I don't know, I like the hustle and the bustle.
So when did you start your first business and what did it involve?
The first business I did was like the home care. Did a home care agency. I did it with my mother. I did it after I left university because I didn't know what I really wanted to do when I left university. I did a degree in sociology. I did some research on it in terms of home care. At the time, I had a contact in the social services. So after a year of it, I needed to move on. I wanted to get a house of my own and things like that. So I thought, you know what, best to knock it on the head, really.
Well, I understand you have 3 brands, Pana UK, Uncle V's Caribbean Cuisine, and This is Black England. So what do each of those projects involve? Let's start off with Pana UK.
But the Pana UK, I've kind of come out of that now. I did it for about 8 years. I did that. It was Pana football. I had an inflatable football. I used to go all over the country in terms of doing like either tournaments or community organisations or youth clubs was hiring me. And I was kind of doing that in my spare time, like either in the summer or in the evening. I had a contract with a youth club in the evening. That was okay. As soon as there was a change of government, because it was Labour, there's a lot of money thrown in terms of Labour. And then as soon as the Conservatives came in, that kind of changed things because then there wasn't no money in the pot for the youth service community organisations. So that kind of died its death in a sense. In the terms of Uncle V's, because I've been involved in the food industry for a very long time. And we had a prominent shop in the city centre of Birmingham recently. And then we decided, due to all the economic situation or whatever, we decided to have a shop nearer to where we live, maybe 2 more. So I am looking to expand on that. This is Black England. I think that's more to do with my book in terms of maybe moving into different, especially in the media field. And maybe might be looking into in terms of like doing podcasts. I'm looking at turning my book into some kind of TV series or film, documentary or something like that. The one thing I love about my book is the fact that I'm concentrated on a prominent year, 1981. That was a year when it changed for a lot of us, especially being black, because we had enough of what was going on, especially when it came to the police and other agencies. And it was an uprising because it didn't just happen in, say, Birmingham. Yes, the book is based on Birmingham. It could happen if you was in London. You can relate to it. Everything in this book is relatable, you know, and especially if you was a minority, you could be Asian, you could still be relatable because you grew up there, because Asian people back then was deemed as black anyway. And it's nice and easy for people to read. I didn't want to just fill it out and bulk it up, which I could have done. this book will be around for a very, very long time.
Oh, that's the good thing about books. They do last forever.
This is Black England. That's going to be a journey within itself. I know it's going to take a long time, but I feel very confident in it in terms of where I'm going in that direction. So that's all my branding in that sense. So, but the prominent ones is the Uncle V and the Black England.
This is Black England?
Basically, it's a fiction book, but it's based on 1981. Linton Kwesi Johnson saying that 1981 was a pivotal year for black people because it gave us power. I think what's happened in the summer kind of made me put pen to paper in terms of like the George Floyd death, the uprising of the Black Lives Matter, and with the impact of COVID. And a lot of people was writing on like their social media about their experience of racism growing up. And it made me think about my time in terms of that era, the 1980s, in terms of me growing up. And so that kind of pushed me in terms of, you know, because I'm old school, you know, when I say I put pen to paper, that's what I did, pen to paper. It wasn't like I was typing it or anything like that. My journey in terms of reading was like over 30 years ago. I used to go to the library. In terms of resources, the kids of today, they've got everything on tap. You got your smartphone, you got your iPad, you got your laptop. So I didn't have nothing of that. It was a case of just going to the library. One of the things I wanted to read in terms of my identity as a black man, because I found that when you was at school and that, there was nothing, there's no black history. And I wanted to find out more. So obviously I went towards like the American because there's more history there. So I started to read like American slavery and had the impact in that. And it was quite interesting because you found out a bit about like the certain tribes, like the Mandingos and things like that. And then from there, it made me read books, African books, as predominantly like on South Africa, because then in terms of what was happening there, biographies, you know, like Malcolm X and people like that. So my journey has been a long journey in terms of me reading books and in terms of me always thinking to myself that I know I can write a book, but, you know, time where you feel like you haven't got enough time or you got other things, responsibilities. So like I said, my journey was from way back.
So when was your book actually published?
It was probably end of September.
So Colin, what other interests do you have?
I like my music. I've just wrote a song as well. So I'm hoping that's going to come out next year. Every day is a different day with me.
I understand you also do speaking engagements. What do you speak about?
I'm a qualified careers guidance advisor. I've been listening to a lot of the main speakers over the years. That's helped me. I mean, in the education field for over 20 years. In terms of engagement, I have spoken at certain venues, but I haven't taken it to another level yet because I've got a lot of things going on at the moment. That's one of the areas where I will look to go into, to be honest.
So, Colin, how can people contact you?
You can get me on Facebook. You can get me on Instagram, The Real Colin Sutherland. I'm on Twitter as well, Colin Ty. So you can find me.
Colin in Birmingham, UK, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. Another In Conversation podcast coming soon. The podcast series hosted by author Nigel Beckles, featuring discussions with award-winning authors, therapists, coaches, musicians, plus individuals with intriguing stories to share. Available on all major podcast platforms. Now.